Hey everybody and fellow metalheads, welcome to the channel. Hope everyone is doing great. I'm here with a video I'm going to make talking about my top 3 favorite All That Remains albums, ATR albums. Going from number 3 to 1, my top 3 favorite. From 3rd to 1st, and you know, All That Remains is a really special band. I've seen them live 3 times. I have concert footage on my YouTube channel from them. I've met Ole Herbert, got a picture with him. And you know, we all know, unfortunately, he passed away several years ago. And I met Phil Labonte, the singer, got a signed ticket with him back when I saw them live in 2007. And you know, All That Remains is just like they're more than a metalcore metal band. They're one of those bands that come once in a lifetime, and you know, they may not be at their prime right now or as good as they were before, especially with the losses they had and with how time progressed, but they released a lot of stellar albums, a lot of masterpieces, and the significance of them in the metalcore scene, in the metal and metalcore scene is huge because they played a big impact and influenced and inspired many other younger bands and newer musicians and artists. And yeah, I'm going to talk about my top 3 favorite All That Remains albums. Now keep in mind, I don't own the entire discography from All That Remains. I almost own all the albums, but I pretty much heard everything. And they have a pretty good list. I mean, they have a pretty good variety of different albums and different themes and different songs and approaches towards music. And overall, I think they're one of the best metal bands from the mid 2000s to early 2010s. That's when I think they were at their prime or at their best. So coming in number 3 is All That Remains, Overcome. And this album was released in 2008, I believe. Yeah, 2008. Here you go, All That Remains, Overcome, just to show you. Right here. And yeah, this is the first album featuring Jason Costa, their current drummer. And he had a big impact on this album. Ever since Jason Costa joined the band, the drumming became much better and more metal and more diverse and complex. I like his style a lot. I love his style as a drummer. He definitely breathed some life into ATR when he joined. And yeah, this is a pretty solid album. You have tracks like Before the Dam, 2 Weeks, Undone, Forever in Your Hands, Chiron, Days Without, A Song for the Hopeless, Do Not Obey, Relinquish, Overcome, Believe in Nothing. Now this album has a good blend of heaviness and softness and good ballads too. And the songs that stand out from, I'll tell you my favorite songs. 2 Weeks, that's a really great song. It's like an anthem. Undone, amazing metal song, a true headbanger. And Forever in Your Hands, which could be one of their best emotional songs they ever made. It's a really good song. It's instrumentally great. It's composed well. Has a good message. It sounds really good when you listen to it. Yeah, those are my favorite songs from Overcome. And you know, with Overcome, like I said, he added Jason Costa as their drummer, and this was the album that they kind of got out of metalcore for a while. And well, not got out of metalcore, they kind of slipped away from it a little bit. They became a metal band, and they definitely achieved their own sound and style after they became a metal band, so they had their own sound. But this was their first album. I would say, you could say it's metalcore influence in some ways, but to me it's more metal. But yeah, Overcome, a great headbanger, and yeah, I have nothing but fond memories of this album. The guitar riffs are sick. The solos are sick. The drumming is great. Phil's voice is all over the place. He does gutturals, screaming, singing, clean singing, really emotional. Hey, so this is a really good album. It's well polished. So that's coming number 3, Overcome from All That Remains. My second favorite All That Remains album is the album which put them on the map, which made them popular, which solidified their status as a true contender in the metal scene is the fall of Ideals. So yeah, All That Remains, the Fall of Ideals, coming in number 2, just to show you here. And yeah, when I first heard this album, I was blown away. This was the first album that introduced me to All That Remains, and that was at the time when I was getting into metal, and I just loved the drumming, the fast drumming, the double kick, synchronized solos, the guitars, the singing, the heaviness. I think the first song I ever heard from All That Remains was This Calling, and I just couldn't believe what I heard. I saw the video for it also, and I was just blown away. And ever since back in 2006, when I was exercising, working out, I don't do that stuff anymore, but there was a time where I was exercising, working out. So in 2006, I was a member of a cross-country team in my school, and I would listen to All That Remains always on my MP3 player, go for like 4 or 5 kilometer runs. I would exercise to them, I would lift weights. I really enjoyed ATR for working out and exercising in the beginning when I first got introduced to them. But yeah, All That Remains, the Fall of Ideals. Shannon Lucas is a drummer on this album, and he did a damn good job filling in for this album. He's a terrific drummer. This was the only album I believe he was with them, and when I saw them, in 2007, I went with a former friend to see All That Remains. It was my first time seeing them. It was for their Fall of Ideals, the Fall of Ideals tour here in Toronto, and I was headbanging, moshing. When I saw them live, I met Phil Labonte that night. I got a signed ticket from him. He was walking around in the crowd, trying not to be noticed, but I noticed him, and that was a really special experience because that was a good concert back in 2007, and All That Remains killed it that night. And they played stuff from the Fall of Ideals, and I just loved it. I was blown away. I mean, it was there weren't too many people, and there were quite a bit of people in that venue, but not too many, so it was a good experience. So yeah, the Fall of Ideals, the songs, This Calling, Not Alone, It Dwells on Me, We Stand, Whispers, The Weak Willed, The Weak Willed, 6, Become the Catalyst, The Air That I Breathed, Empty Inside, Indictment. These are all great headbanging tracks. This track is a pure metalcore track, and this album is a pure metalcore album, and to be honest, to me, it's the album that destroyed metalcore, because ever since All That Remains released this album, they just set the standard and the bar for what music should be in metalcore, and many bands just kind of disappeared after that because they couldn't match to what they did. But yeah, no, the Fall of Ideals, my favorite songs, I'll tell you quickly, are This Calling, Not Alone, and Become the Catalyst. Yeah, This Calling, Not Alone, and Become the Catalyst. I'll probably have to say my favorite songs from the album, but it's all killer, no filler. All killer, no filler. All the tracks are great on this record, and I highly suggest you check out The Fall of Ideals if you haven't heard All That Remains. It's a great album to get into them, just because it's so damn good, and instrumentally it's so tight, and probably still to this day is maybe their most heaviest album. I would think so, at least. But yeah, that's coming in number 2, The Fall of Ideals. Such a great record. And coming in number 1, my favorite ATR All That Remains album is For We Are Many, and this was released in 2010. And sorry if I didn't mention, I just want to say The Fall of Ideals was released in 2006, if I didn't mention that. I think I did, but yeah. So yeah, For We Are Many came out in 2010, and just show you here. And yeah, I saw them live. It was my 3rd time seeing them live for this tour, and I have clips from that. I have concert footage on my, like I said, on my YouTube channel from that concert when they were playing from this album, songs from this album. And this album is very special to me. It's, I think, their most mature album, their most diverse album. As musicians, they reached a whole new plateau here. The song structure is great. The album is really fluid. It has its own theme. It has its own concept. It's very good, and it has a lot of inspiring songs, and a blend of a really good blend of heaviness with softness and ballads and songs that trigger and invoke emotions in you. And I'll read some of the tracks from this album. I'll read the tracks from the album. Now I'll let them Tremble for We Are Many, The Last Time, Some of the People All the Time, Won't Go Quietly, Aggressive Opposition, From the Dead, From the Outside, Dead Wrong, Faithless, Hold On, Keepers, A Fellow Man, The Waiting One. I'd have to say my favorite songs from them, my favorite three songs, my top three tracks from this album are probably The Last Time, Aggressive Opposition, and Hold On. But all these songs are great on the album. They're really good, and it's their most mature album. Instrumentally, it's great. It has this feel to it like no other album. You listen to it and you say to yourself like, yeah, no other band did this, or this is something new, or this is something innovating, something fresh. And yeah, for We Are Many, and many ATR fans would say this was their best album or their favorite album. To me, it is, and I'll never forget listening to it for the first time and seeing them live and seeing them perform. And yeah, you know, it's really unfortunate what happened with Ole Herbert. You know, when he passed away in 2018, or when he died. I haven't heard too much news from what's happening with the band since then. They did get a new guitar player, but I haven't heard too much things about new albums coming out, or concert, or shows from All That Remains. But yeah, no, All That Remains, I give them so much credit. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. They inspired me a lot. They motivated me a lot. They made me want to, even as a musician, take new boundaries and test myself and just have fun making music. And yeah, All That Remains is an amazing band. If you haven't heard them, check them out. Like I said, I don't own their entire discography. I almost do, but they have some weak albums. They have some horrible. They have one or two really bad albums, I would say, but mostly their albums are good. Sometimes they hit or miss with them, but they remain fairly consistent. So yeah, let me know what your favorite All That Remains albums are. If you ever saw them live, if you like ATR, how big of an impact they have on your life. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. Stay metal, and goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye.